my pilgrim's progress a tired soul. My exodus was a long way before I left my footprint. The desert sand buried my shadow, the desert wind howling into the night. The moon was my light. The great I am held my hand, left other set of footprints, called me royal. Into his Leviticus I became. I set up the stars I couldn't count because their numbers were vast. I stumbled from time to time, but I remembered that even when the moon bid farewell and the sun blanketed itself with the clouds, the birds flee. I searched his Deuteronomy, scroll after scroll, night after day. The Israelites journeyed, and when Moses died, Joshua took over. Was this it though? I questioned myself. The night sky was more colorful than what my eyes could barely see. Not by night, not by day, even the cloud as small as a hand, maybe not by sight. Who was I to judge how my life could be? Perhaps my past had been ruthless. My mind couldn't comprehend. Even Ruth was a pilgrim unto the land unknown. I was determined to figure out what my mouth couldn't fathom. But first Samuel, I heard a voice whisper in the night. I woke up from my slumber. Second Samuel, the voice whispered again. Was this my imagination? Or maybe I was just restless from all the toiling. I began to wonder if you were my first king, yes, and my second king, then maybe this journey would be worth it. A pilgrim at heart, my soul wavered. Could I really fathom what was ahead? Because I learned that in the chronicles of my life, the fine print was your fingerprints, the penmanship was the font of love. Perhaps the second chronicles of my life would be the birth of a nation. My heart had been in captive, held by pain, chained by sorrow. When mercy found me, I was like the exile returning, led by Ezra. My emotions exploded into a million pieces. My eyes teared like the seas in summer. The walls around my heart echoed the walls of Nehemiah. Mercy followed by grace stood at the citadel, staring at the walls. Mercy reached out. My heartstrings were tugged. By grace I stepped forth. I looked up. I found myself before the king, stretched out his hand. Goodness bestowed upon me. I smiled. I whispered, but I am not worthy. Just like Esther had saved her people, I had been saved. Was this enough though? Still a pilgrim, I questioned everything. Before mercy, all of me was in captivity. Maybe I was doing a bad job at being a pilgrim. This journey I had not chosen. I had found myself fighting the desert storm, chasing the desert pulls. I sang psalms through the storms. I spoke proverbs. Had I been a fool? Maybe not really. Had I been wise? My plans had gone into nothing. Perhaps everything was indeed meaningless. Perhaps this was my Ecclesiastes era. I wanted to unlearn so I could sit under the palm tree and sing the songs of Solomon and search the scrolls of Isaiah. I tossed and turned, and hour by hour my eyes sought after sleep. Maybe I was too young, just like Jeremiah. I tried to die with gratitude, but fear forced a way in. My lamentations were heard from afar. My heart was in anguish. From the valley of my soul, the valleys of dry bones became an army after Ezekiel spoke and the winds blew. But my heart was still in the lion's den. Like Daniel, I prayed 3 times a day. You are my Alpha, I still uttered. My first love, my Hosea, my mouth gasped. You became my salvation before evil roamed the street. What you promised I had yet to see. My hands met my knees, my arms met my legs. I rocked my whole body, and in the stillness stillness of the night, I began to prophesy like Joel had spoken. I looked up with the tears streaming down my eyes like the rivers of Eden. I smiled, hoping that one day I too would be restored. The broken places would be repaired like the letters of Amos had stated. While I journeyed, anger caught up with me. I ignored her, but she went straight for my heart. I struggled, I let go, I fell on my knees. I screamed, if I am your Obadiah, why was this journey so hard? I had a voice, I looked up, I saw a sea, I saw a whale, and I thought maybe I could be a Jonah, and perhaps I wouldn't be missed. And yes, there were no boats in sight. I looked down again, I buried my hands in the sand, I stood up with just a wave of cold, bitter air. I couldn't breathe. Opening my eyes, another letter. This one was from Micah. Walk humble with your God, it read. Struggling as a pilgrim, I asked how. Trust that the great I am is your refuge in times of trouble. Nahum replied. I echoed the words of Habakkuk. How long, O Lord, must I call out for help? I began to mourn, and by morning on the sand it was written, I will give you honor and praise among the people of the earth. I replied, but I am not worthy. I had a whisper, if Zephaniah believed it, so shall you. In the desert I traveled so far, in the night he had been with me by dawn. I still had a whisper, I am with you. In the oceans I found a note from 1,000 years written by Haggai. I am with you, said the Lord. I had been in unbelief all along like Zechariah in the temple, but all along mercy and grace had formed a bridge to love, as Malachi had been a bridge from Genesis to Revelations. You are my Genesis, my first, my Alpha. In the midst of the storm, be my sight.